you're one of these people that think that EVs can't be fun to drive, well, maybe this might give you a change of heart. And by this, I mean the Abarth 600e. She's a looker, all right. And in the car market, that's brought us high-performing EVs in the Hyundai Ioniq 5N, the Alpine A290 and many others. Sometimes it's hard to give off that main character vibe. But I think Abarth have managed that with the 600e, because not only is it a great looking car, it's ferocious in its looks, but also in its performance, because what lies under this bonnet is the most powerful electric motor ever created by the House of the Scorpion. So you could say that this car sure has some sting in its tail. But what this car won't do is sting your bank account, with prices starting from just over the £36,000 mark, and it's a real sense of value for money. Because the Abarth 600e is essentially the cooler sibling to the Fiat 600e, so essentially what you're getting is a heightened version of its quieter counterpart, which means you only actually get two spec levels, the entry spec simply being called the 600e, whereas the top spec is a lot more inventive of its name, the Scorpion-ismer. But both specs sure do pack a punch. And what certainly does pack a punch is the design, because not only is it rather keen on the eye, it also captures the character and style of Abarth to a T. Whether it being the LED dome headlights or the overall shape of the bonnet, you can clearly tell it's an Italian made car. But I think what sets this apart from the rest is the constant sporty and almost ferocious design accents that are really thrown in your face. Like this contrasting front bumper, which not only has that Scorpion branding, but also these partitions which really make the car pop. You also get 20-inch diamond cut alloy wheels, rather aggressive and in your face, which come with performance tyres. And with an almost excessive rear spoiler, this car sure looks ready for the track. And the performance is certainly ready for the track. Providing a 0 to 60 time of around about 6.2 seconds, 240 horsepower and 345 newton meters of torque. As far as compact SUVs go, this might be the funnest. And when it comes to the top spec, this Scorpion-ismer, love that name, then you get an even heightened performance with a 170 kilowatt electric motor, providing 280 horsepower and 0 to 60 time of 5.8 seconds. Not only does it look like a quick car, it drives fast as well. Abarth have racing expertise in its DNA, and it's really shown when it's come to crafting the 600e. Now what they've done to allow this really great driving experience, and driving this car, this really just feels like a driver's car. If you love driving and you're really a car enthusiast, then you'll really appreciate how this car feels on the road. Because what Abarth have done is they've tested on Formula E benchmarks when it comes to the performance of this car, as well as adding in adrenaline fueled torque, adding in things like suspension stiffness, shock absorbers, which, to put it in simpler terms, means you get so much more control, get so much more precision in your handling, and all round a very balanced car. And I think perfectly balanced is a great way to sum up the latest addition to the Abarth family, because you're not only getting a great looking car, a really sporty looking SUV, you're not only getting a performance and driving experience that would fare well at Silverstone, but you're getting a rather practical car as well. Because along with them LED headlights with LED daytime running lights, which have cornering capability, which makes it more of a safe car, you also get rear LED lights. And as for boot capacity, well, it has a fairly sizable boot space with 360 litres, which if you look across the UK car market, compact SUVs, you know, this would rival something like a Nissan Juke. It's that sort of size. This fares much better. So 360 litres, I think it's rather good. And that rather sizable and practical boot capacity is definitely helped by the dimensions and very giving wheelbase of the 600e, which also means that when you go into the interior, you get a rather giving cabin space, which I mentioned about the Abarth 600e being a very well-rounded and balanced car. And the interior of this car is very much the perfect balance of practical and fun. This is kind of like that cool teacher at school that you could sort of have a laugh with, but you also had to get the work done to be able to have a laugh with them. And this interior kind of gives off that vibe, because yes, very well nice designed and it feels fun, but if it wasn't practical and was kind of a bit naff in terms of the space and the infotainment, then you kind of would be against it. Really nice design with them racing accents, the Scorpion logo on these racing inspired seats. They're not quite racing bucket seats that comes on the Scorpion Ismo, but they're still very comfy, rather hugging with these bits at the side, and ultimately they just really work with that matching, stitching patterns to the paintwork. Overall, rather nice. You get Alcantara on your centre console, which is kind of like a little flap for storage here. You get 3 sizable cup holders, which are rather practical, and a little bit of storage in your centre console. Comes to the steering wheel, and it's leather and Alcantara wrapped 3-spoke steering wheel, and ultimately this gives off that racing vibe, not just because this car handles brilliantly, but I think just having this 3-spoke steering wheel really just emphasises the driving experience. When it comes to tech, and you have your infotainment screen, which comes with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's a very responsive system, and you do actually have shortcut buttons underneath to go to home, and also your driving assistant system, where you can toggle the settings for your traffic sign recognition, your driver attention alert, your traction control if you kind of want a bit more fun, but I wouldn't advise that on anything like a motorway. You've also got all the stats for your charging and also your drive performance, because you can actually show the torque distribution while you're out on the road. It's got gauges like you're in a racing car, and there's also a section called racing. We got racing timers. You can show the G-force that this car's provided. As I said, Abarth have true racing expertise. You've got separate climb controls so that you can change with your infotainment screen, but I think these are much more practical when you're out on the road. 7-inch digital dash, which I think complements the car well. It kind of has that racing style gauge, although it is rather simplistic, and it kind of doesn't change any of the colours. You're changing your driving modes. You can't change the layout in terms of having your navigation in and things like that. It is just that preset thing, but it does the job, and I think it does look well and complements the car. Bit scratchy plastic here, but I really like this gloss effect all along your dashboard. Your little Scorpion logos here, there and everywhere. And overall, it's got good storage, it's got good tech, very practical, and it looks rather good as well. Come to the back seats, and if I was a rear passenger in the 600D, I don't think I have much to complain about. My only complaint would be that I'm not in the driver's seat, because this car is built to be driven. But there's a good amount of legroom. You only get one USB-C port charger in the back here, although in that centre console at the front there are 2 extra USB chargers. I do really like the design of the back of the seats. It's not just, showing the cloth. It generally looks like I'm in the back of a racing car. Pretty smart, that. No fold down armrest, which would have been a nice touch, but I don't think it's the end of the world, because these headrests are rather spongy, and if I was on a long drive, then I certainly would be comfy, and I reckon I could have a good kip. And the Abarth 600D is definitely capable of a long drive, because the Abarth 600D has a rather practical and usable 200-mile range. However, because of the multiple driving modes that you get, the Scorpion Street, which is more of your eco mode, then you can probably push it to about 220, 230, depending how you're doing your driving. As it comes to recharging, well, this car supports ultra fast charger, which means you can get from 20 to 80% in as little as 28 minutes. So then here's 5 things that I really like about the Abarth 600E. First being the constant use of that Scorpion logo. We've got it on the side, we've got it on all 4 alloy wheels, we've got it throughout the interior, on the rear spoiler and on the front bumper. It gives it character, it gives it style, and really shows off that aggressive driving nature. Second, which very much is in your face, is this rear spoiler. This is an electric compact SUV, and it comes with something like this. Rather impressive. Number 3 is the simplicity of the interior. I don't mean when it comes to the design, because the design is outrageous, it's in your face, borderline show off, but it's very good looking. But it's actually the function of it. Your automatic gear selector, your climate controls are all just these plastic buttons, but you kind of don't need much more than that. And also it doesn't take away from your driving experience. This car isn't trying to be something it's not. This car's built to enjoy. Number 4, the alloy wheels. Need I say much more? 20-inch diamond cut alloys, brake calipers, performance tyres. I mean, just look at them. And last but not least, the section in your infotainment screen, which shows your gauges for your battery voltage, your battery level, and also your G-force, your racing timers. As I said, Abarth have true racing excellence, and it's definitely shown in this. But I just think the overall feel of this car kind of feels a bit different to what you'd expect in a compact SUV. Even though this is the entry-level spec, the Scorpion Ismo is even more ferocious in terms of it looks, because you get things like SAR racing belt, racing bucket seats. But even though this is the entry spec, you still get that racing feel with the Alcantara on the steering wheel in your centre console, and also just the whole shape and feel of the seats. and for the fact that the steering, with the way this car's balanced, you really have precise control. This is really a driver's car. If you enjoy driving, then this just feels like another level. I just think for a compact SUV, this kind of almost feels like the full package, because you're getting the practical necessities like a good amount of space, decent mile range, things like adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, traffic sign recognition, all come from that base spec. So you're getting all of them, along with a driving experience that you're not getting with any other £36,000 SUV on the market. Compare that to likes of the Volvo EX30, another fast electric car. You compare that even to things like the Kia EV3, which all reside within the same price bracket. You're not getting this feel on the road. I mean, the responsiveness when, you slightly put your foot down when you're leaving a roundabout, it almost feels borderline dangerous. You literally edge the accelerator ever so slightly. You just feel like you're pulling away massively. Like that, but it feels like the car sticks to the road. As I said, if you enjoy driving, if you've driven fast cars before, then you're going to enjoy this. Yeah, it would be nice for that £36,000 price tag to have things like electronically adjustable seats, with one of them pump ones and a lever underneath your seat. Would be nice if you had like parking cameras, although they come with the top spec. But I think where the money has clearly been spent when making this car is that driving experience, because I honestly feel like it's like no other. So then, there you have it, the Abarth 600e, possibly the funnest compact SUV that you can drive on today's roads. And I think what Abarth have done with this car is rather impressive, because they've taken essentially what is the Fiat 600e, really revamped it and remapped the performance of this car to make a driving experience that's almost like no other. With Abarth's most powerful ever electric motor combined with their racing expertise, which is giving you them shock absorbers, giving you that suspension stiffness, and all controlled by a 3-spoke steering wheel, this really feels like a true sporting race car. This EV really provides a true driving experience. And if you want to find out more about this car or any of its Abarth counterparts, then contact Accrington Garages.